And I'll be honest, I don't see the need, and neither do I have the desire to convert to Orthodoxy because of what I have.
Well, let me give you something to chew on. So I had when I was a Presbyterian before I converted.
Yeah.
We had an amazing parish. My pastor was awesome, Pastor Adriel, North Park Pres here in San Diego. Fantastic church, unbelievable community. One of the things that I came to realize was this being a good church is pretty much contingent upon that pastor.
I thank you for being here. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Please give us a thumbs up if you do enjoy this content, and click that bell. You'll get notifications of all of our new content immediately. A lot coming your way. And please prayerfully consider becoming one of our Patreons. You'll get exclusive access to uncut, unedited, complete episodes, as well as early access to all of our content. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this video.
Dude, what's the answer between basically the realm of the dead? I'm not talking about necromancy. I don't even think veneration's close to necromancy at all. I'm just saying, what is the how do I pray to the dead? Because what's your hermeneutic? What's your exegeting of Hebrews when it says the great cloud of witnesses? Is that what you're talking about when you're able to pray to the dead? How do we know that they can even hear us?
Yeah, we know they're not. We know they're not dead because we see them in Revelation. We see them actually praying actively.
Yes.
Jesus says God is not the God of the dead, but of the living.
Of the living,
right?
Yeah.
And so,
when I say dead, I mean deceased. I can't. Right. But I do fully, just for clarification, I do know that they're not dead or in Abraham's bosom. I do believe they're with the Lord right now.
And consciously alive and able to pray.
That's interesting because if they're able to pray, that means they're aware.
Exactly.
They're aware.
Yes, exactly. And so in that sense, I just don't, people always say, oh, it's different because they're dead, or we say reposed. I don't see how it's different because it's very clear in Scripture that they're not dead, that they are alive and that they are conscious right now. And so if that's the case, how is it any different than you asking your friend to pray for you? I don't see how it's any different. And it's even better because these are holy saints.
When did veneration, was it the 2nd century?
We believe it's apostolic. You can, the Roman catacombs even, which late 1st century, early 2nd century, there's even icons and there's intercessory prayers written underneath them.
When is this? 2nd century?
Yeah, the Roman catacombs.
Yeah, great.
They just discovered the oldest Christian prayer outside of Scripture, and it's literally a prayer to the Theotokos. And it's from the late 2nd, early 3rd century.
Wow.
And so this concept of intercession is very, it's from very early on. St. Polycarp's relics were venerated by an entire body of believers publicly. And so the concept of relics is just, that's even the biblical concept, because if Elisha's bones,
right.
We're raising people from the dead. The Book of Acts, handkerchiefs were healing people, right? So it's crazy because I've actually met Baptists who they're against icons, but they're fine with relics, which I think is really interesting. But what I also think is interesting is they don't have any relics in the Baptist church.
Yeah.
We have relics. We have relics.
They got the King James Bible.
The King James Bible is the word of God, favorite word.
Amen.
So I think it's interesting when Baptists kind of give credence to relics. It's okay, well, where are your relics? We have relics.
Yeah.
We have relics dating back to. I just went and saw when I was in Greece. I went to Crete. I saw the skull of Saint Titus.
Great. That's fun.
So
that's so sick.
It's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. What was the biggest? Okay, I'm doing this for you. What was the okay, I've been Protestant. I have, you're very committed to your worldview. Even in 2020, I saw you defending constantly the faith, righteousness. I think you're a man of righteousness. I think you love righteousness at whatever cost. You defend truth.
Yeah.
You're obsessed with truth.
Yeah.
Like a dog to a bone. You're not going to let it go.
Yeah.
So that's why I even wanted to talk to you, because I've seen your character these past couple of years, and you're not one to make a passive decision. So what was the decision for you to become Orthodox?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint one thing. I do want to answer this. I want to also address, you brought up, some of your experiences, with your valid walk with the Lord. And, that was something that I had too, I really loved the Lord, and I had valid, experiences with God, as a Protestant. And so that's not something like as Orthodox that we completely reject. I think something that was amazing about the timing is that God gave me Orthodoxy at a time that my heart was ready for it. Because if I had been presented Orthodoxy a couple years before what I had been, I would have just spit it out, and I would have thought it was just, there's just Catholics without a pope, and it's all this tradition and all this stuff. And
Catholics.
But God waited to present Orthodoxy to me for a time when my heart was ready for it. And really it was, to answer your question more directly, it was reading that book, being exposed to Orthodoxy, but then, man, it really culminated when I went to liturgy. I was at a point where I was pretty much just held back by icon veneration. That was pretty much the only thing that I was really struggling with. And it was when I went and actually watched, the icon veneration, and I was like, to your point earlier, this liturgy is 100% focused on Christ. And this in no way, this is not idol worship. I thought up to that point, it was idol worship, Yeah. But when I actually witnessed it, man, I was like, this is not idol worship. This is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I saw people who they had a love for Christ, just like I had, thought I had as a Protestant. And the biggest theological reason was apostolic succession.
Okay.
It was actually in reading St. Augustine, because as he's kind of the token church father for a lot of Protestants, because
you can pick and choose.
Yeah,
which one from him.
Yeah, but they try to find, they find some certain, especially soteriology, in regards to maybe the seeds of Calvinism.
Yeah.
And so as a Calvinist, I loved St. Augustine, and up to that point, I really had only read secondary, sources of him, and when I was actually reading him and seeing how he would argue against the heretics. And literally he would say, he would list the succession back to Rome, and he'd be like, this is what I have. Where's yours? And guess what? St. Irenaeus does the same exact thing with the Gnostics. The fathers throughout church history, this is how they argue. They argue theology. Don't get me wrong. They give their argument from Scripture. They do. But really the nail for them is, I can trace my lineage back to the apostles and you can't. That was really interesting to me as a Protestant, because I think a lot of times in these theology debates, it's like, okay, they're making some good points, who's right? And it's like, well, that guy can trace his lineage back to the apostles. His teacher was taught by this guy, all the way back to the apostles. And what's really interesting about that concept is it actually has root in the Old Testament, because when a new priest was ordained in the Old Testament, there had to be 3 priests present, which is exactly how we ordain bishops now, by the way. Had to be 3 priests present, and one of them had to be able to trace their lineage back to Joshua. And if you read the passage where Moses passes his authority to Joshua, he literally lays his hands on Joshua.
Yeah.
And is physically passing his authority to him. Yeah. And this is exactly what we see the apostles then doing first of all with Matthias in Acts, and then with their successors. And so this was just a huge hole that I saw in Protestantism, and I was like, I just don't think I can get around this.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I love it. Dude, I feel like really satisfied in my church, if I'll be honest. My pastor is incredible. Our view of authority is something that I've never tasted in a church before. It's not that my pastor's unquestionable, just like maybe your bishop isn't just like whatever he says goes, But he's submitted underneath other men, and ultimately, Christ. And like I said, our view of liturgy, our view of communion, our catechism, our understanding of baptism. We take all these things so seriously. Like, I believe the thing that's stopping me is the culture. Like, maybe I'll look back on this and be like, oh, that was dumb. But what I'm thinking is, like, I don't need to go to the Orthodox Church because of what I'm experiencing, of what I have, my family, covering, shepherding. What I'm being taught is just like remarkable. What I'm experiencing in worship is remarkable. I'm being pointed closer to Christ, like literally every Sunday. And then it bleeds into my life Monday through Saturday. And what I'm building there with my wife, building a family. I just got asked to teach and write the middle school content, like in order to see them through middle school and then into high school. Like the longevity that I've been planted, like it's all like my roots are so deep. And I'll be honest, I don't see the need, and neither do I have the desire to convert to Orthodoxy because of what I have. Well,
let me give you something to chew on. So I had when I was a Presbyterian before I converted. We had an amazing parish. My pastor was awesome, Pastor Adriel, North Park Pres here in San Diego. Fantastic church, unbelievable community. One of the things that I came to realize was this being a good church is pretty much contingent upon that pastor. I'm pretty much fully reliant on counting on that pastor being good. Otherwise, the church is not going to be good. And I thought about my future children and how there's going to be a time when I'm not around, and my kids are going to be starting from scratch, trying to find a church with a good pastor. In the Orthodox Church, I don't have to worry about that. In the Orthodox Church, I know there's continuity. There's verifiable continuity, and it's not reliant on a good priest. The priest could be there could be a bad priest, and guess what? It's still the Orthodox Church. It's still going to be the same doctrine. It's still going to be the same creed. It's going to be the same liturgy, and I can count on that. I can know that when I'm no longer here, and when my amazing priest, Father John, when he's no longer here, I can count on the fact that my children are still going to be raised in the same faith that I found. Look, like, it's tough. Like I had the same exact view. Like I had an amazing, relationship with the Lord, before becoming Orthodox, and I didn't think I was missing anything. It's amazing how much I was missing. Like it's just incredible how much Orthodoxy just like opens your eyes to the fullness of the faith. I mean, all this to say, I think the distinction is in the structure that Orthodoxy offers. And maybe you don't find that convincing, I don't know. But
no, I like it. Like I lead prayer at my church. And it's every week, 7 a.m. Like we do it. I have a team, and like I'm saying, it's like I'm experiencing the beauty of the discipline and of the consistency and of we fast as a church. Pretty consistently. I do like your point, how it is contingent upon the pastors. That is actually very interesting. That is something that I have found to strike me. The dangers of the... it feels like it's like on one pillar. And there's a lot of weight.